It runs so close to the mountain's side that you can pluck a flower simply by stretching out a single arm. That is how the explorer Alexandra David Neal described the steam train, called the toy train, that joins the Bengal lowlands to Darjeeling, situated at 2,130 meters in altitude. "83,000 inhabitants live in this half-modern, half-traditional town, located a few cable lengths from the Nepalese frontier. In Darjeeling, you can easily come across the quaint, charming atmosphere of colonial years, when the city used to be a refuge from the warmth of the plains for the English upper classes. After independence, Bengalese planters inherited the club's tradition, which is a renowned British institution. Thus the Planters' Club, considered as one of the most elegant in Bengal, has given the numerous local planters a certain prestige. Competition between tea gardens has never prevented them from treating each other with courtesy and fine manners. Here, tea culture was a noble occupation, often passed down through inheritance. But the interest of multinational companies has turned this passion into output-oriented production. Today, the tea aristocracy is living through its final days.
This club to date signifies a certain portent of what life used to be. 50 years ago, this place used to boom on a Sunday evening like today, full of energy, life, vibrancy, bonhomie. Today, it is just ticking over because it's subsidized by being let out as a hotel.
The younger generation is probably not as club-minded as the older generation, because you mustn't forget that 30, 40, 50 years ago, when people were living without these facilities, the club was the only place where you went and let your hair down and where you interacted socially with one another. Today we have more people living on the estates, we have families, we have children, we have ladies, so people find ways and means to interact socially on the garden without feeling the need to come out.
I like being impolite and wild, so I'd be brutal and say it's finished. Why I decided to follow biodynamics? I personally felt that it was the highest form of organics.
In addition to organic farming, Rudolf Steiner believed that the environment was so deteriorated it wasn't able to heal itself anymore, and that therapeutic processes were needed to help the soil regain its fertile vitality. He consequently defined the bedrock of what we call biodynamic farming. In his workshop, Raja Banerjee prepares active fertilizers made with plants, minerals, and horn silica, according to their attributes discovered by Rudolf Steiner. These fertilizers work to heal the ground and galvanize life forces, just as a medicine works for human beings. These cattle horns hold fertilizers mixed with compost. After several weeks, live organisms develop, and it is ready to be spread on the gardens.
One has heard of karate. In karate, it's a martial art, and there are gradations in it. You have white belt, brown belt, orange belt, black belt, and even when you arrive at the black belt, there are gradations, first dan to 10 dan. From my point of view, organic agriculture is brown belt. Biodynamic agriculture, following Steiner's practices, is black belt, 10 dan. It's not difficult, it's very thorough, it's very particular. And since it concerns not only the earth, but the denizens beyond it, and the sun, moon and stars, the universe as a whole, it was literally my cup of tea.
In Makai Bari, preparing the tea for taste testing follows a ritual that has not changed since pioneers cleared Darjeeling's mountains to plant gardens. Fermented teas, called black teas, give a copper-colored infusion. Semi-fermented teas, called oolong teas, are tinted an orange-yellow, and non-fermented teas, called green teas, are light yellow in color.
We have a panel of tasters headed by me that is used to ascertain the strict adherences of the highest quality control measures by tasting every morning the preceding day's manufacture.
Teas are tasted like wines, with the same exacting requirements and subtleties. Tasting is an art which is built on the infusion's color and flavor, as well as on the smell of the brewed leaves.
Normally when I taste teas, I'm totally focused in it. And not only must one have a very good palate, but it has to be trained. Because the tongue is a wonderfully sensitive bit of equipment which has many nerves that triggers off a certain emotional message to the nerve center. Sour, sweet, salty, sugary, bitter, whatever. It's a combination of all these sensations that one associates with, but one's growing up.
Ishis will be dancing with joy with this tea. Superb.
For example, the flavor of peach. How would you define it? You cannot define it. It has only been imprinted as an abstract sensation from childhood. Similarly, what is sweet? It's also an impression. It's abstract. So triggering of this abstract emotions instantly needs the fusion of a fine tongue, a palate, a good nose, training for it, and of course a disciplined lifestyle. If you smoke too much, you're a hopeless taster.
Good.